Alright, I'm back at the Boston airport for my Brotherhood of Steel build, and if you watched my first video on this, you remember it was mainly graded walkways and graded floors and it had this like really cool industrial vibe. Yeah, I scrapped all that. Just tore it all down. It's completely different, but I promise it's so much better than what it was before. Just trust me, like you'll think the old version of this was just garbage in comparison to what it is now. Okay, maybe not garbage, but it's just better is all I'm trying to say. Now the outside of the structure is more or less the same. So if you followed along last time, like the placement of the outer walls and how I built them with the scaffolding and the industrial beams and all that, so that's the same. I only gutted the inside of it. Alright, so enough talking about it, here's how it looks now. Yeah, it looks good. Looks good already, doesn't it? Oh, I'm excited to show it to you. Okay, so the scaffolding is still there. I just want to emphasize that if you've done this already, don't worry. You still need to do that first part. It's really just this middle, the meat of it is what I changed. And to me, it just looks so much better. It looks more realistic of what the Brotherhood would do. You know, instead of making it look like they were building something from scratch, I'm trying to make it look like they found this area and then they're just making it their own. I feel like that's more realistic to what the Brotherhood does in the game already. So I'm going to give you guys a quick tour of the place and then go through the build part of it and talk about the mods that I used to build this up. So I have the majority of this bottom area figured out. So this part is going to be the shops. I'm going to have like a weapons and maybe armor right here. And then on this side is going to be more of a general trader. That's kind of the idea that I have so far. And then this is the clinic, like the little medical area. So I'm going to fill that up with like gurneys and all kinds of stuff. Medical area there. And then across the way is where I'm still trying to figure out. So this floor is not going to stay. I might change like the way that it looks. But I'm trying to figure out what should go here. I'm thinking with the puddle in the middle of the floor, maybe I'll turn this into a bathroom or something. I don't know. If you have suggestions, please let me know in the comments. Over in this middle area is going to be my power armor workshop bay area. You know, in the Pridwin where they have that little section like the power armor bay. I'm going to do the same kind of thing here, but it's going to look better because let's be honest. This little room is going to be maybe like a storage area. It's just so small. I don't know what to do with this, but storage maybe. And through here is going to be the bar. I'm really excited for this part because I want to put like chairs in this little corner or maybe like a booth or like a poker table area, something. It's going to look really cool on both sides. And I love the way this worked out because the building kit that I used matched up perfectly with the doors that were already here. Look at that. Like the door frame matches up perfectly on both sides. So it looks like this could have already been here. It was just so satisfying when I snapped that doorway in and it matched up. It's the little things, you know. And the last part I want to show you down here before I forget is these little rooms that I put off to the side. So this is going to be, I'm thinking about making this like the merchant's living area. So there's a shop. And then this could be where they live. If it's not too small. I'll put a couple on this side too. So this one, oh, okay, hang on. Gotta fix the door. I didn't close this one off. So if it works for the other side, I will close this one off and this one. Oh, why do I keep doing this? So I have this bottom area pretty much figured out. I got a pretty good solid idea on how I want all this to look whenever I decorate it. What I'm struggling with, and I might need your help on it, is this area up here. So I have like this wide open space on both sides. So I have this one here, and then on this side it's pretty much the same. And I'm trying to figure out what would be best up here. Like what would the Brotherhood have in these areas? So on this side I'm thinking maybe barracks. I might close off a couple of areas and have like individual rooms. So I'm thinking that would be good there. On this side, I did try to build a pier, or actually I did build one. I put a boat down and everything, and it just didn't look good. You know, it just kind of took away from the structure. So I'm probably not going to do a pier, but I like the openness of this, but I don't know what else to do with this. So if you have any suggestions for any of the stuff that I mentioned so far, please let me know in the comments. And if I use your suggestion, I'll give you a shout out in the final tour video. Across the way, I'm going to put in a couple of bathrooms, maybe. So I'm thinking like a bathroom here, and then one on the other side. It just seems like a good spot to have a couple of bathrooms. Now this area reminds me of the Elder Maxon area on the Pridwin, you know, where like all the windows are. It just seems like a big version of that because of the shape. So I'm thinking this would be a good control room area, but it's so large, it's wide open space. I don't know if I could fill it up and still make it look good. So we'll see. When I start decorating in here, we'll see. Plus, like, this door doesn't close, so I gotta figure that out. But either way, I'll make it look good. Now if you watched my last video of this build, you'll notice that I had 3 different levels and now I only have 2. And to me this is more realistic because the height of these walls line up perfectly with the structure that's already here and the roof that's already, attached to the Boston airport. So if I added in another level, it wouldn't line up and wouldn't make any sense. So I built up these 2 levels, and the only way to get to the roof is through this elevator, which makes a little more sense to me. It's a little bit more secure. And I can just picture like the Brotherhood knocking out this part of the ceiling and throwing in an elevator and a couple of stairs to get up to the roof. Like, in my mind, that checks out. And dude, the roof is so much better. Tell me this does not look better than what was here before. It looks way more intentional and not like I'm just trying to make it work. Like the Brotherhood platforms here are just perfect. They work on both sides. And I even tried to snap in the smaller Brotherhood platforms that would wrap all the way around, and it was just too much, like less is more for this, I'm noticing. So just these platforms here, and then I added in guard posts off to this side down at the bottom, and I just think that works so much better. I'm even going to put a guard tower down here by the door just to make it look a little more secure down there, like a check-in station. And yeah, I'm just so much happier with this. I have so many more ideas, and I think it's going to work out a lot better than what I originally had. So really what happened was that I was checking out the Snappy House Kit mod, which is one of my favorite mods, and I found this subway kit in here, and it worked so well. Like, I started building with it, and I just loved the way that it was looking. And then cut to, I rebuilt the whole thing. So I didn't record myself building this, and I haven't been doing that lately. So if you guys missed that, if you missed seeing me build everything from the ground up, let me know, because I try to keep these videos very efficient and quick, so it's not 30 minutes of me building a foundation and trying to get a wall to work. But if you missed some of that, if you missed some parts, please let me know which part specifically, and I'll try to start bringing some of that back. Now to build the main part of this, like the outer walls and everything, I do explain that more in my last video, so check that one out. I will have a link to it at the end of this one. But the easiest way to snap in these walls and everything is to get one of these floor pieces and line it up with the rug that was already here. You want it at the very edge of the settlement right before it starts to dip down, but lining it up with the rug is probably the best way to start, and then you want to snap out all the way across the other side of the settlement. And you'll know if you did it right because it will be lined up with the other side as well. So if it's hanging off a bit, you might just have to remove these floors, make a few adjustments, and then snap back out to see if they're both in line. So once you have your floors lined up, you basically want to snap them out to cover up this entire area. So cover up all the debris, the rugs, everything, this whole area. Just cover it up with floors. That way your walls will have something to snap to. For me, it's much harder to line up walls than it is floors. So I put the floors in first, and then I snap in my walls, and really I built up this entire structure, and then I removed the floors that I no longer needed. Which is really just the ones out here, because I wanted this part to be natural. I love the rugs and the debris, I think it looks great. So I just removed the floors that were covering this part up, and then left the floors that were in like the power armor room or in the bar. It just gives it this nice little contrast for different rooms. So that's the starting point, and honestly with everything else you just have to play with it, because I wasn't familiar with the subway kit at all, and then I started building with it because I thought it looked cool, and the more I built with it, the more I figured out what I could do with it. And that's how most of the kits are under the Snappy House Kit mod. You really just have to play around with it because they're very well done and we have so many options. Like, I didn't even know these lights were underneath here, and they snap in, so it's like, it's a very well done mod. You just kind of have to spend some time and get familiar with it. Now the last thing that I want to point out is the hardest part of building here, and that's the damn roof, because it's broken in the worst way. Especially with how perfect of a rectangle the rest of the build is, and then you have this roof that we don't really have the tools to fix, so we gotta find a way to cover it up and not make it look dumb. And I will say that this Brotherhood of Steel platform worked out better than anything else that I tried, and I tried a few different things. So I got this from Homemaker. I don't know where else you can get it from, but I know it's in Homemaker. But it worked out great because it was just high enough and it lined up perfectly with the roof pieces that I had there. Now I couldn't push it all the way back to cover up every gap because then the airport roof started clipping through and I just didn't like it. So I left a bit of a gap there and put in these floor pieces, and it still didn't completely cover it up, and it didn't really look all that great either. So I had the idea of putting the airplane in there, and I feel like it works out pretty well. I mean, I don't know, like my brain goes, this should not look good at all, but I feel like it does. I mean, I don't know, am I crazy? Does it, what do you guys think? Does it look good? But that is it for the build. I really appreciate you guys watching. Now, next time, I promise I won't redo this, and I'll actually decorate it and hopefully get this build finished. I have a lot of ideas, like I mentioned, and I'm really excited to show it to you. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments, and again, I will give you a shout out if I use your individual suggestions. So be on the lookout for that.